Before I start the video, I'd like to apologize to everyone that I'm sorry I've been making a video for a very long time. It's just that I've been very busy with this current video. I am literally a one-man show. Now that saying being done, let's all get to the video. What is an invasive species? It is an animal that is not native to a certain location. You know, like the Asian carp in the Mississippi River, or the cane toad in Australia, and so on and so forth. Believe me, there was a lot of prehistoric invasive species that we know today. Here are 14 prehistoric invasive animals. Number 14. Stegosaurus. Now everyone knows this group because it was named after the dinosaur that started the whole group. But did you know that Stegosaurus actually had an Asian origin? The first Stegosaurus was called Huayongosaurus. It lived in China around 165 million years ago during the Middle Jurassic, when Asia, North America, and Europe were still together as the continent Laurasia. Stegosaurus started to cross into other continents like Europe and North America. The first North American Stegosaur was, of course, Stegosaurus, which appeared around 155 million years ago. The first European Stegosaur was called Miragaia, which appeared around 150 million years ago. And Kentrosaurus was the first and probably only Stegosaur in Africa, which appeared around 152 million years ago. The last Stegosaur was called Dromaeosaurus. It appeared in China and Mongolia around 132 million years ago and died around 129 million years ago during the early Cretaceous period. Number 13. Entelodons. Everyone also knows these hell pigs, hogs from hell, or terrier pigs, whichever you prefer. But like most animals on this list, they do have an Asian origin. The first entelodon was called Proentelodon. It lived in Mongolia around 37.2 million years ago during the Miocene epoch. Entelodons later started to cross into more Eurasian countries and later into North America around, let's say, 36 to 34 million years ago, one's assuming. The first entelodon to make a worldwide distribution was called Brachyhyops. It lived in southern Eurasia and later made their way into North America, where in North America it would evolve into Archaeotherium, where it appeared around 33.9 million years ago during the late Eocene epoch, while in Eurasia it evolved into Entelodon, where it appeared around 37.2 million years ago around at the same time. The last Entelodon was called Diodon, which was also the largest. It lived in America around 29 million years ago and died around 19 million years ago during the Middle Eocene epoch. Number 12. Dromaeosaurus. Now everyone knows the Dromaeosaurus under the more popular term, the raptors. But we all know that most raptors lived in Asia and North America. But here's the question, where did the raptors originally come from? Believe it or not, raptors originally came from Europe. One of these raptors was called Nucithes. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. It was first found in England and appeared around 143 million years ago during the Cretaceous period. Thanks to Laurasia, we all know the rest. Raptors have been found in Asian countries like China, Mongolia, and Uzbekistan, like Iterremus. Raptors have also been found in the North American states and provinces, like in most notably Utah, Montana, Alberta, the Dakotas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Wyoming. There's also been 4 raptor species that have been found in Argentina, and 1 species have been found in Madagascar, like Rahan avis. But after they left their European homeland, there were only 2 raptor species that lived in France during the late Cretaceous period. They were Tauroraptor and Brontoraptor. The last raptor that lived was a huge Dakotaraptor, where it appeared and died around 66 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. Number 11. Shortfaced Bears. These bears are known for their short faces and massive size. The first of these bears was called Pleonarctos, which appeared around 10.3 million years ago. Like all bears, they originated in North America. But somewhere during the Pliocene epoch, Pleonarctos had invaded Europe, and somewhere around that time, Pleonarctos had evolved into the more well-known Arctoctus in North America, which appeared around 1.8 million years ago, along with a Florida spectacled bear around 4.9 million years ago, and had died around 12,000 years ago. But during the Great American Interchange, Arctoctus had invaded South America, and later evolved into the bigger Arctotherium, which appeared around 1.2 million years ago. While both Arctoctus and Arctotherium died around 11,000 years ago, they still live on as the spectacled bear in South America, so in a way, short-faced bears are still among us. Number 10. Early wolves. Wolves are pretty known wild dogs of today. They are known in North America and Eurasia, but where did they originally come from? To no surprise, they came from North America as a dog called Eusyon, which appeared around 10.3 million years ago during the late Miocene epoch, but later, during the early Pliocene epoch, Eusyon invaded Europe, Asia, and even Africa. While in Eurasia and Africa, Eusyon evolved into Xenocyon, and in North America, Eusyon had evolved into Canis Epiphagus, and later into Canis arbustieri, and later, finally, Canis dirus, which is also known better as the direwolf, which was the last prehistoric canis, and it died around 9,000 years ago. Did you know that direwolves were also found in Mexico, Venezuela, Peru, and Bolivia? Number 9. Ceratopsians. Yet another well-known dinosaur on this list, but like every other creature on the list, they started as invasive species. The first Ceratopsian was Yulong. It lived in China and appeared around 158 million years ago. Now, when Eurasia was still around, Yulong evolved into Stegosaurus, and somewhere in between the beginning of the end of the early Cretaceous period, had invaded North America and evolved into Achelops, the first true North American Ceratopsian. Now, over the next 51 million years, Ceratopsians had ruled North America. Plus, they still ruled Asia and countries like Mongolia, China, Uzbekistan with Dromaeosaurus, and Belgium too with Crespidodon. Did you know that Ceratopsians have also been found in South America with Notoceratops, and Australia with Serendipitoceratops? I hope I'm pronouncing that right too. As for that Ceratopsian, I think we all know who that was and what happened. Number 8. Terror birds. Okay, now terror birds are yet another. They actually did originate in South America around 58.7 million years ago during the late Paleocene epoch as a bird called Paleopsiloropterus. Man, this list has a lot of hard animals names to pronounce. Now, during the Eocene, a bird named Lavocto-avis was found in Algeria. Another bird named Ithroornis was found in Switzerland and France. And these birds both lived during the Middle Eocene epoch. Up until the early Pliocene epoch, during the Great American Interchange, terror birds have always lived in South America and invaded in North America as the bird known as Titanus, but unfortunately, Titanus was the last terror bird to live as of the moment it died around 1.8 million years ago. Number 7. Glyptodonts. That's right, Texas's state animal isn't from the good old US of A. Their ancestor, the Glyptodonts, came from South America, and the first of these Glyptodonts was called Paraporopaleohophophorus. I swear, I could not make that name up even if I wanted to. It was small compared to Glyptodon standards, and it appeared around 17.5 million years ago during the early Miocene epoch. Eventually, Glyptodonts got bigger and more well-armed. During the Great American Interchange, they made their way to North America thanks to a Glyptodont named Glyptotherium, which appeared in North America around 1.8 million years ago during the Middle Pleistocene epoch. Over the next 8,000 years, the Glyptodonts had ruled both continents until the last two well-known members of the group, which happened to be Glyptodon and Doxychurus, had died out around 11,000 years ago. Number 6. Giant ground sloths. Now, sloths are still around today, but as we know, they weren't always the small tree-climbing animals they are known as today. Giant ground sloths did came from South America originally, like their modern-day relatives, and made their first appearance around 35 billion years ago during the late Eocene epoch. They would continue to live in South America up until Megatherium's demise, which was around 10,000 years ago. Giant ground sloths didn't invade North America until 10.3 million years ago, thanks to a sloth named Phenobatitis. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Around the Miocene epoch, Megalonyx, aka the Jefferson ground sloth, later came into the picture during late Miocene and died around 11,000 years ago. Now, the last ground sloth was called Megalonychus. It lived in the Caribbean islands of all places and died around 5,000 years ago. Very recent compared to the other animals on this list. Number 5. Bear dogs. Everyone should know this hybrid predator by now. A carnivore that has the head of a bear, the entire body of a dog, and is related to neither predators, but its origins is unknown right now. Some scientists think that bear dogs have a North American origin, while other scientists think they have a Eurasian origin, but whatever country they came from, bear dogs are still invasive species nonetheless. The earliest bear dog was called Eustanophosinea. Once again, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. It appeared around 39 million years ago and was first found in Texas. It later evolved into Diphelodon. It appeared around 20 million years ago during the early Miocene epoch. Then Diphelodon later evolved into Amphicyon around 16.9 million years ago and started to dominate the world. Bear dogs can be found in China, Mongolia, France, Africa, Spain, Nebraska, New Mexico, California, Portugal, Turkey, and Pakistan. The last bear dog was called Atracta Amphicyon. It lived in Pakistan and died around 2.6 million years ago. Number 4. Tyrannosaurus. Yes, even the king has an immigrant background. The first Tyrannosaur was ironically a dinosaur called Proceratosaurus. It appeared around 165 million years ago during the Middle Jurassic period, and it lived in England. During Laurasia, Proceratosaurus had managed to spread across to Europe, then to Asia, and later evolved into Guanlong. Later, a descendant of Guanlong had crossed the country of China and went into North America as the dinosaur Stegosaurus. Though Tyrannosaurs began to spread across North America during the late Jurassic period, they didn't rule the country until the Cretaceous period. They also started to rule Asia too around the same time. But unfortunately, the last Tyrannosaur in Europe had died around 130 million years ago. Now, like the Ceratopsians, we all know what happened to the last Tyrannosaur. Number 3. Gomphotheres. These prehistoric pachyderms are well known for their bizarre lower shovel-shaped jaws. To no surprise, Gomphotheres do originate in Africa, more specifically in Ethiopia and Eritrea. I hope I'm pronouncing that right again, I'm sorry. Never heard of that country. And they date back to the late Oligocene epoch. During the early Miocene, Gomphotheres started to invade Europe, then Asia, and finally North America. During the early Pleistocene epoch, the Great American Interchange had happened, and the Gomphotheres had invaded South America, which unfortunately, South America would be the Gomphotheres' last stand, thanks to one called Notiomastodon, and it died around 6,000 years ago. Number 2. Macarodons. Macarodons, or commonly called saber-toothed cats or dark-toothed cats, are one of the most biggest and successful prehistoric mammalian carnivores. But how did they start out at first? The first saber-toothed cat was called Proilurus. It originated in Eurasia around 25 million years ago during the late Oligocene epoch. Then it later evolved into another cat called Stegosaurus, which made its way to North America, and later evolved into another cat called Hyperallerictus, which is also became the first big cat in North America. Throughout the Miocene and Pleistocene epochs, saber-toothed cats had nearly dominated the entire world, from North and South America to Asia, to Europe, and to Africa. They evolved into cats like Macarodus, Dilopholis, Xenosmilus, Megatherium, Homotherium, and Smilodon. The last two Macarodons were of course Smilodon and Homotherium. Homotherium died around 12,000 years ago in North America, and Smilodon had died around 10,000 years ago in South America. Number 1. The Sauropods. These dinosaurs are one of the biggest and most successful invasive species on this list. And why is that? Well, hold on to your seatbelts, everyone, because it's going to be a wild ride. The first sauropod was called Ixonosaurus. This sauropod lived around 214 million years ago, around the late Triassic period, and it lived in Thailand. Now, somewhere between the late Triassic and the early Jurassic, a relative of Ixonosaurus had traveled to China and later evolved into Papasaurus. Another relative went to Africa and evolved into Volcanodon. And finally, another relative went to Germany and evolved into Dromaeosaurus. I hope I'm getting that right, and not being offensive to anyone. During the Middle Jurassic, there's a sauropod in Argentina called Patagosaurus, and somehow made its way into North America. Throughout the late Jurassic to the late Cretaceous periods, sauropods began their global domination. In North America, there was Apatosaurus, Brontosaurus, Brachiosaurus, Camarasaurus, Sauroposeidon, and Allosaurus. In South America, there was Dromaeosaurus, Saltosaurus, Argentinosaurus, Dreadnoughtus, Andylosaurus, and Patagotitan. In Africa, there was Parlatitan, Giraffatitan, Dicerosaurus, Rubachisaurus, Nigerosaurus, and Repetosaurus. In Asia, there was Shunosaurus, Mamenchisaurus, Nagmectosaurus, and Isosaurus. In Europe, there was Pelorosaurus, Megarosaurus, Dinoherosaurus, if I'm getting that right, Cetosaurus, and and Pileosaurus. In Australia, there was one titan, Dromaeosaurus, Ceratopsian, and Ostrosaurus. There's even evidence of sauropods in Antarctica. The last sauropod was Allosaurus. It lived in North America around 70 million years ago and died around 66 million years ago during the late Cretaceous period. So, congratulations to the sauropod family for being the most invasive prehistoric animals on this list.